I shall give you a boy who will be your grandson. This is the magnificent divine prophecy received by his grandfather, Hadhrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, the promised Messiah. His father, Hazrat Mirza Bashiruddin Mahmud Ahmad, Khalifatul-Masih II, announced on the 26th of September 1909, Allah has given me the glad tiding that I will be blessed with a son who will be a Nasir-ad-Din, helper of faith. He will be committed to serving Islam. It is also said that he, the Messiah, shall die and his kingdom descend to his son and the grandson. These prophecies were fulfilled in the person of Hazrat Hafiz Mirza Nasir Ahmad, Khalifatul-Masih III.
ए नासिर दीन तेरी यादें हैं क़ल्बो नज़र का सरमाया इन यादों से हम जीते जी यादों के चमन महकाएंगे
Hazrat Hafiz Mirza Nasir Ahmad, Khalifatul-Masih III, was born to Hazrat Mirza Bashiruddin Mahmud Ahmad and Hazrat Sayyida Nasir Mahmuda Begum Sahiba on the 16th of November 1909 in Qadian. Masih II passed away at 2 a.m. on the 8th of November 1965. The members of the community converged in large numbers upon Rabwa.
The election of the third caliph took place, and that happened on 8th of November 1965, and the venue was Masjid Mubarak in Rabwa, and the time was 7:30 in the evening after the Isha prayer. The meeting was presided by Hadhrat Mirza Aziz Ahmad Sahib, who was at that time the Nazir-e-Ala of Sadr Anjuman Ahmadiyya, Pakistan. He presided over the session, and in that meeting, according to these rules and regulations, the election took place. So following these rules and regulations, when the proceeding of the meeting conducted in Masjid Mubarak, through this meeting, Alhamdulillah, that the name of Hadhrat Sahibzada Mirza Nasir Ahmad Sahib was presented, and all members of the Electoral College, they unanimously agreed on that one, and he was in that way elected as the third successor of the promised Messiah, alayhi salatu wasalam. Naturally, those people who were extremely grieved at the passing away of Hadhrat Muslim Maud Raziyallahu Ta'ala anhu, by the grace of Allah, once again the life came back to those people, and they were quite happy and satisfied and full of gratitude that once again the whole Ahmadiyya Muslim community was again united at the hand of Khalifatul-Masih.
The college met in a deeply prayerful mood, and Sahibzada Mirza Nasir Ahmad Sahib, eldest son of the departed Khalifatul-Masih, was elected Khalifatul-Masih III by an overwhelming majority of the Electoral College. All the members of the Electoral College entered afresh into covenant of allegiance on his blessed hand. He made a brief address, and then all those who were outside of the Masjid Mubarak, numbering well over 5,000, took the oath of allegiance. As soon as the choice of the Electoral College became known, it was universally felt as if comfort and consolation were descending upon every heart from heaven. The blessed period of his Khilafat lasted for 17 years. From the beginning of his Khilafat, he showed proof of great zeal and drive in the pursuit of the objectives of the movement.
On 17th of December 1965, Huzur Rahimahullah Ta'ala's first year of his Khilafat initiated the very first project of his Khilafat, where he proposed that a network of food banks be created whereby no member of the community should ever go hungry.
One of the most important projects, which was also initiated during the early days of his Khilafat, was the setting up of the Fazl-e-Umal Foundation in memory of Hazrat Khalifatul-Masih II on the 21st of December 1965.
Before his birth, Hadhrat Masih Maud made a prophecy, which is a very famous prophecy of Muslim Maud, in which he said that God will give him a son who will lead the nations and who will be a great man, and he will be a nation builder. So we believe that Hadhrat Mirza Mahmud Ahmad Sahib, Khalifatul-Masih II, Raziyallahu Ta'ala Anhu, was the Muslim Maud. When he died, it was decided that a foundation should be set up which should carry on with the work that Hadhrat Khalifatul-Masih did in his own lifetime. The first project was to write a biography of the life of Hadhrat Khalifatul-Masih II, Raziyallahu Ta'ala Anhu. There are scholarships that are being given by Fazl Umar Foundation for students to go abroad and study. So it's a vast scheme, and by the grace of God, they are doing a very, very good job.
A new building was constructed for the Khilafat Library in Rabwa, which was one of the projects envisioned by the foundation.
So in 1970, the foundation stone of the Khilafat Library was laid by Hadhrat Khalifatul-Masih III at Rabwa. In 1971, the inauguration ceremony took place. I was present during this ceremony, and it has more than 100,000 books now. I think this is the largest library in the outskirts of that particular area.
Various other projects carried out under the auspices of this foundation were construction of a guest house in Rabwa, publication of the book Khutbat-e Mahmud, which contains all the sermons of Hazrat Khalifatul-Masih II in 3 volumes. Cash prizes were awarded to scholars who submitted their dissertations to the foundation on a wide variety of topics. On the 12th of March 1966, Huzur introduced the short-term dedication project known as the Waqf-e-Arzi.
The purpose of this project is to promote the learning and teaching of the Holy Quran, as well as imparting a religious knowledge to local members. The result of this activity is that members of the Ahmadi Muslim community are receiving religious education and moral training.
A famous revelation of the promised Messiah is, "Kings will seek blessings from thy garments." This prophecy was first fulfilled during the time of the Third Khilafat in the person of Sir Singate, who was elected Governor-General of Gambia, West Africa. Mr. Singate, a devout Ahmadi Muslim, was previously president of all the Ahmadiyya branches in Gambia.
Once Singate was elected as head of state of the Gambia, he said fervent prayers, thanked Allah for his elevation. For some time, he continued to pray. Then after his prayers, he made a request. And everybody said that that was a historic request. And the request was to requested Hazrat Khalifatul-Masih III that if he could give him a piece of the promised Messiah's garment.
In 1967, Huzur travelled to Europe for the first time after becoming Khalifatul-Masih, conveyed the message of Islam splendidly in all the countries he visited by holding press conferences and addressing large audiences. He warned the inhabitants of Europe that the only way out of another catastrophe for them was to accept Islam and to turn with true hearts to their Creator. In London, Huzur addressed a large gathering on the 28th of July 1967 at Wandsworth Town Hall. Huzur's topic was a message of peace and a word of warning. In 1973, Huzur embarked upon his 3rd European tour. He visited the UK, Holland, Germany, Switzerland, Italy, Sweden and Denmark. The bigoted section of Orthodox Muslim divines in Pakistan were much perturbed by the announcements of Huzur concerning the centenary celebrations. Time after time, the plans that they had devised for the purpose of stopping the progress of the movement had been frustrated. By the grace and mercy of God, and from each trial, the movement had emerged in greater strength and spirit. Rather than learning a lesson from their repeated experiences, Their bitterness and hostility towards the movement had continued to mount, and the announcement of the centenary celebrations put them in a mood of desperation.
Well,
the community again set an example of perfect steadfastness under extreme suffering and complete confidence in God. The bereaved and the afflicted managed to make their way to the headquarters of the movement, where Huzur applied the healing balm of compassion and love to their lacerated souls, and sent them back comforted and consoled. They came with grief-stricken, gloomy faces, and went back smiling and cheerful. The full incidence of the Third Khilafat, and indeed of the Ahmadiyya movement, was the Deliverance of Jesus from the Cross conference that took place in London in June 1978. Huzur arrived in London in June 1978, and the conference itself was opened on the 2nd of June at the Commonwealth Institute in Kensington, London. Literature relevant to the theme of the conference, produced by the eminent historians and writers, were on display. For this historic event, believers and friends came to gather information and to be addressed by Orientalists, archaeologists, scholars and theologians of many religions who had been invited from all over the world to speak on their beliefs. The opening ceremony took place before a packed main hall and to overflowing audiences in adjacent halls by television. There were participants from Pakistan, India, Africa, Asia, Europe and the USA. Eminent speakers like Sir Zafrullah Khan and Sahibzada Mirza Muzaffar Ahmad read their scholarly papers. In his address, Huzur spoke of the total uniqueness and perfection of God, the creator and master of all, and of man's total dependence upon him. He went on to compare the Christian and Islamic teachings, and with support from the Holy Quran, spoke at great length of the deliverance of Jesus from the cross. He conveyed with great love and humility the message to millions. Thousands of Europeans who listened to Huzur's address were impressed by the depth and breadth of his knowledge. Newspapers from around the world, magazines, television and radio carried news of the event in their respective countries. Hadhrat Khalifatul-Masih's visit to London in 1978 provided him with a unique opportunity to catch a brief glimpse of British politics at the House of Commons. On the 7th of June, he was invited to the House of Commons by Mr. Tom Cox, Member of Parliament. In the members' dining room at the House of Commons, over 100 friends of the Ahmadiyya movement enjoyed the warm reception and hospitality extended to them. All the invited guests had the opportunity of meeting the revered head of the Ahmadiyya movement. Huzur spent some time talking to dignitaries. An added highlight to this informal occasion was provided as the House of Commons was in session on that day, and a number of members of Parliament spent time talking to Huzur. Several religious denominations were represented, including members of the Jewish and Catholic faiths. The visit lasted for over 3 hours. Concluding the afternoon, Huzur visited the public gallery to observe the House of Commons in session, in what is the heart of British democracy. The promised Messiah, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, "God has conveyed to me that my followers will excel so much in knowledge and insight that they will confound all others with the light of their truth, their reasoning, and their signs." This prophecy had been fulfilled in various forms over the passage of time, and will continue to do so. During the blessed reign of the Third Khilafat, this prophecy was magnificently manifested in the person of Professor Dr. Abdus Salam.
I am a theoretical physicist, and we theoretical physicists are engaged on the following problem. We would like to understand the entire complexity of inanimate matter in terms of as few fundamental concepts as possible.
He was a renowned scientist who received the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1979 from the King of Sweden. He was the first Muslim, and in fact first Pakistani, to receive this prestigious award.
Just by way of back,
this was the first mosque to be built in Spain, 700 years after the Spanish Inquisition. On this occasion, he announced the magnificent Islamic motto, "Love for all, hatred for none." Later, Huzur traveled to Canada and the United States. This was Huzur's last tour of any country outside Pakistan.